Cool. Hi everyone. I will talk very quickly about integrating with Ethereum. So my name is Bilgin Ibryam. I'm a principal architect working for Red Hat Consulting, and I primarily work on integration projects which are based on Java. And I have been using Apache Camel for many years, and I've booked about it. And in the last couple of years, I've focused on containers and container orchestration. And I'm just about to publish another book called Kubernetes Patterns. And in the recent year, I started looking into blockchain. And coming from an integration background, I've been more interested from enterprise blockchains. And I see that more as a way of integrating organizations where the business process kind of goes through multiple companies. One slide about Red Hat. We have many open source projects, but there isn't one for blockchain yet. And what we are doing in this space is we have a partner, BlockUps, who are doing Ethereum-based. They have Ethereum-based product. We are member of Hyperledger, so we have engineers working on Hyperledger Fabric performance working group, and some of our middleware, especially Java-based ones, such as the Message Broker or Hibernate, are used in R3. And our goal is basically enable blockchain projects to work on Red Hat stack, whether that's RHEL or OpenShift, or integrate with the middleware. There is a talk at Summit. It's titled Enabling Hyperledger Fabric on OpenShift. So our goal is similar to Fabric, enable other Ethereum-based or other blockchain-based projects on OpenShift. But that's enough for Red Hat. I want to talk briefly about Apache Camel. Just wondering how many here are from Java background or no Java? Okay, a few. And how many have heard about Apache Camel? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So if I were to describe Apache Camel, that is basically integration toolkit that enables different systems to talk to each other. It's not a Red Hat product. It's hosted by Apache Software Foundation. It's open source. It is very active. It has hundreds of contributors and tens of committers, and it's very mature. It's over 10 years old, used by Red Hat middleware in multiple products by Talent and lots of enterprise customers. And if you ask me why would I use Apache Camel, and sure you can make two systems talk to each other, but I would say if you want to avoid reinventing the wheel and reuse something that's been tested and created by hundreds of developers, then you would use Apache Camel. It has lots of connectors and it's pattern based. So if you talk about connectors, as long as there is a Java library for a system, for a protocol or data format, there is typically a Camel connector for it. There are over 200 right now. It is basically an implementation of this book, Enterprise Integration Patterns, which describes patterns such as filters, content-based router, splitter, aggregator. Basically, Camel provides these patterns out of the box. And it has a DSL that combines the connectors to the patterns. Here I have an example of a Java-based Camel route, which has a file connector, a pattern in the middle, content-based router, and an ActiveMKey connector. So a simple Camel route that connects two systems. Here is the same Camel route, but used another DSL with an XML DSL. And here we see a visualization of the same Camel route. So that is basically Camel. It talks multiple protocols, as I said. It can talk to lots of enterprise systems, IoT. It talks IoT protocols, cloud-based systems. And I would say in this regard, blockchain systems are not any different. So it has, at the moment, two connectors that I have contributed. It has an Ethereum connector and Corda. And I'm working on one for Hyperledger Fabric. What is the idea? Basically, you can use Camel and monitor an Ethereum node or basically you can read from it all kind of data. You can query it for blocks, transactions, you can listen for events. And when those events happen, depending on your patterns, your implementation, then you can talk to your backend system. Similarly, if there is anything happening in the backend system, you can use Camel to to write to an Ethereum node, basically create a transaction. The same approach can be used for talking to a Corda node, where you can track what's happening with the flow, or you can start a flow, etc. The Ethereum connector is based on Web3j. Basically, I've looked at available Java client options for Ethereum, and there weren't many. Web3j was the only one that's with active community and maintained. The others are basically Ethereum node implementations rather than just the connector. And if you look at the features list, these are basically the features of the Web3j. So it kind of exposes all features into Camel. Here I have a very simple Oracle example using a Camel route, just to demonstrate how you could use this library. This Web3j basically means use the Web3j connector. We have the host, the port, and we are basically observing for the logs for specific topics. When an event is occurred on the specified topic, we log it to the command line, and then we send the transaction from this address to another address. That's the command send transaction, and the data in the transaction is basically calling another smart contract. So this is a very simple example of you could use Camel with Web3j and implement an Oracle that both monitors and also sends to an Ethereum node. And it effectively means using that connector you can talk to any kind of Ethereum compatible node, whether that's a Ganache for testing or Infura or even Quorum. Yeah. So, sure. So to sum up, this presentation is also available as a blog post. There is a GitHub repo with an example how to use the connector. I would say check out Apache Camel. If you have a blockchain project or any other project with a Java client, you can contribute a connector. It's a great way to give a visibility of your project to Java ecosystem, to Camel developers. It's a way to advertise your projects. And I have blockchain related posts on my blog. That's all. Thank you.
Any questions?
It was simple.
No question? Yeah.
What do you prefer, Ethereum or Corda?
I have mixed feelings, so I kind of like both. I think they are both good for different reasons. I see Corda more as an evolution. It's using lots of existing things from the Java ecosystem. For somebody who, like me, who's coming from Java, it's easier to understand because of all the libraries and everything. It's whereas Ethereum has a slightly higher entry barrier. There is not much in Java, mostly JavaScript-based client, etc.
Thanks.
Do you handle keys at all, or do you just assume the key is on a node, and therefore that's
so in that example, it is actually talking to Ganache, so you don't need a key,
okay.
But otherwise you have to give it a key, and the approach is the same way you would do with the Web3j library. So this is just a wrapper around it.
Yeah. Okay.
For what kind of applications did you deploy this? Using Camel, interconnecting a blockchain with an existing IT system?
Yeah, so probably you wouldn't use Camel just to talk to a blockchain system, but most likely if you have multiple systems, you will be using Java. You won't be doing that in JavaScript or something else. And if you are using Java, it's quite likely you're using Camel already to talk to multiple systems. So in that regard, talking to blockchain is just another system, I would say. So the full value comes when you use Camel with the patterns, with all other connectors and everything else, not just this connector. Instead of using this connector, you could just use the Web3j library and do the same thing. But if you want to do complex solution, then you would look into Camel.
Which complex solutions? I was curious about that.
I mean, the projects I work are composed of, let's say, tens up to hundreds of microservices talking to tens different systems. So this kind of complexity, and you want a unified way, a unified stack, a pattern-based solution to manage such a complexity that is maintainable for many years. Yeah. So when you look at that scale, then you would use Camel and its projects.
Thank you.
Any more questions, anyone? Cool. I think, thank you.
Cool.